This is MC Tone from the 757 Spin Number the Truth, back to y'all with another video. And today it's the NFL. It's time for the NFL analysis, scores, and results. It was another good week for the NFL. A lot of games were a little bit like the Saints and the Bucs games was lopsided, and I'm gonna talk about that later. But let me start on with the video. The Broncos 27 versus the Falcons 34. The Falcons were in control of this game all game pretty much. Matt Ryan, you hear all the talks about he might be traded or he might be released, and I think that's foolish for them to really trade him. I think he's been solid for that franchise. I think he's definitely not the problem in Atlanta. I think they're just missing a lot of pieces, especially in the run game. Todd Gurley, he's leading the NFL in touchdowns, but I still think they need to improve in the run game. The defense needs to play a little bit better, and they have since Dan Quinn's been fired. But this is a Falcons team that could be easily 5-3 right now with a few blown leads. But this is a Falcons team that I still think is talented, and I don't think Matt Ryan is definitely the problem with the Falcons. The Broncos, I like Vic Fangio. The offense look. I don't know if Drew Lock is the guy, but I do like where this Broncos team is headed. Seahawks 34 versus the Bills 44. Too much pressure on Russell Wilson. You're asking him to be Superman to carry that team and he can. He can. But when is that defense going to step up for him? It's no longer that no fly zone defense. It's shameful how bad they're playing right now. They're giving the most yards off of passing. There's no pass rush. The team is struggling right now, especially creating pressure on the quarterbacks. Josh Allen threw for 415, and he's definitely been balling. And the defense, shout out to the Bills defense. They caused Russell Wilson to have 4 turnovers, and if the way Russell Wilson's playing as an MVP candidate, that's pretty bad. But for Russell Wilson, he has to do a lot. They're asking him to do a lot, to carry a lot. They were down. They try to fight for a comeback, but this is a Bills team that is well coached by Doug McDermott, has done a great job, and the Bills won this game 34-44. You got the Bears 17 versus the Titans 24. The Titans were in control of this game. Like I said, like the Falcons, they were in control all game long. The Bears rallied at the end of the fourth, but just too many turnovers. Um, Nick Foles, I just have a lot of questions about Nick Foles. I know he threw for 300, but that was more on garbage time. The Titans, they're a solid football team. I know they released, I forgot what's his name. It's gonna come to me, but excuse me. They released him, and that was a great pickup with Desmond King to pick him up during the trade deadline. A great addition. I think they were struggling in the secondary, and you're adding one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the game with Desmond King. And the Titans 17-24. A good game by AJ Brown. A little shaky with Ryan Tannehill in terms of accuracy, but the Titans still got the job done. The Ravens 24 versus the Colts 10. Philip Rivers played poorly this game. The defense for the Baltimore Ravens, it's legit. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They have 12 straight games with the takeaway, and they scored another defensive touchdown. That defense is stingy. They get after you and they force turnovers. The offense started clicking for the Ravens in the second half, and I would love to see a little bit more up tempo in that offense more for the Ravens. I think that's what they can be good at, of helping speed up their offense. And the Ravens, they just need to get better in terms of offensively. I still don't like where they are offensively, but they did lose Ronnie Stanley, and they did lose Tyree Phillip on the offensive lines. But Lamar Jackson played pretty well. He threw some darts in there. Hopefully they can build off this offensive performance. The Panthers 31 versus the Chiefs 33. The Chiefs are the most quietest. For them to win the Super Bowl, they're the most quietest team, it feels like, in the NFL, because we're just so used to Patrick Mahomes doing crazy things. Like every week she does something crazy or does a pass that's crazy. And shouldn't be a shocker for this Chiefs team. I know the Panthers, they had a good fight. They were leading this game, but no lead is safe with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. He broke Dan Marino's record for the fastest quarterback for over 100 touchdowns or to 100 touchdowns. Either way, that man is a man out of control. Patrick Mahomes is definitely the best quarterback in the NFL. And the Chiefs to keep on rolling, man. I don't know. Like I said, this feels like this is a dynasty. And they're definitely the team to beat. The Lions 20 versus the Vikings 34. I'm going to give Matthew Stafford a pass. He didn't play. I mean, he didn't practice all week long, but I'm still having doubts about Matthew Stafford. The Vikings, Dalvin Cook, we already know. Dalvin Cook went crazy, over 200 yards rushing. Allowed Kirk Cousins to do his thing. The Vikings are playing good football. I wish they would have played like this earlier in the season, that we could have been talking about them different. But this is a Lions team that what direction this franchise is going to me, and that's going to be the most important thing going into this offseason, and what they're going to try to do in terms of building this football team. But the Vikings definitely proved that Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs in football, over 200 yards rushing, very impressive performance. You got the Giants 23 versus Washington 20. Kyle Allen went out with a dislocated ankle. Shout out to Alex Smith coming back strong. Fought. He actually did pretty good. Over 300 yards passing, threw 3 picks, but that was more of Russ. He was rusty, and he played a solid. But to me, he played a solid game for what he came back from in that broken leg. He definitely played good. The Giants team, Joe Judge to me had done a great job, especially that defense. He got that defense fighting every week for them, and they're shockingly, to me, a top 10 defense. We're not having any like real names on that defense, and they've been playing pretty hard for Joe Judge. And shout out to Joe Judge for getting that Giants team right. And they're one game behind the Philadelphia. They still can win the division in the NFC East. You got the Texans 27 versus Jaguars 25. Lofton, the rookie, almost pulled it off, but Deshaun Watson special. And this is the Texans team that, even though they're having a disappointing season with Deshaun Watson, you still have one of the best quarterbacks in football, and they pulled it off 27-25. Texans played pretty good. Will Fuller had a pretty good game, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving. You got the Raiders 31 versus the Chargers 26. The Raiders, man, they're 5-3. They're looking to make that playoff push. And like I said, John Gruden, he was the madman, crazy for trading Khalil Mack. But look what he's got. Look what he's built with that Khalil Mack trade. The defense still needs to improve a little bit, but this is a Chargers team that has Justin Herbert, who I think is going to be who's definitely going to be a top 5 quarterback to me. Is very impressive. Derek Carr played pretty good. Josh Jacobs had a good game. This is a Raiders team that's poised to make a playoff. I want to say run, but poised to definitely make the playoffs. And John Gruden's definitely showing them that Khalil Mack trade was definitely worth it. So shout out to the Raiders. You got the Steelers 24 versus the Cowboys 19. The Cowboys almost pulled it off. Almost was an upset, but Big Ben, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He brought them back. He carried the team on his shoulders. There was a little bit of scare with his knee, but he bounced back. Definitely a good game. This is the Cowboys, the defense that definitely improved. Penalties beat them, and it just went the Steelers' way during this game. You got the Dolphins 34, Cardinals 31. Tua is not a bust, man. Give him a chance, man. Why do we, after one game, we give these guys bust? Like, you gotta at least let them play a couple of games before you like, oh, he can't play. And Tua made a couple of passes, you're like, oh, that's why he was selected number 5 in the draft, or oh, that's why he might have made the number 1 pick if he was healthy, because of stuff like that. And shout out to Tua Tagovailoa. He definitely played a great game. Kyler Murray, for what it was, he played pretty good too. Not even pretty good. He played outstanding for a loss. I think he had over 400 yards or close to 400 yards himself, accounting for himself. 3 touchdown passes, over 100 yards rushing. This was a great game for the Cardinals, but they just fell short with the Dolphins team carrying by Tua Tagovailoa, who scored the game, who helped push the game-winning touchdown. So shout out to Tua Tagovailoa getting his first win. His second win as a starter. Had a great game, showing people that he wasn't a bust, and he just blocked out the noise and played his game. You got the Saints 38 versus the Bucs 3. Whoa. Tom Brady looked really old. And that was disappointing to me mostly was what disappointed me the most was that the Bucs never established their run game. Sometimes I think Bruce Arians gets and Brian Leftwich get in trouble where they try to show off this amazing pass game. No, run the football. You got a Leonard Fournette. You got Ronald Jones. Run the football. And that's what I think they got away from. The Saints, Drew Brees definitely went crazy on them. And Drew Brees, for all the noise they see about his shoulder or he's getting too old, he definitely outperformed Tom Brady again. And this is the Saints team that's looking to clamp the number one spot in the NFC and get that bye week to help Drew. Especially, I definitely do think they need it. So just going back from this week, the Bucs, they still got a lot of work of who is their identity in offense. I think they need to run the football a little bit more. That needs to be their first option. I know Tom Brady, he's his GOAT, but he's not the Tom Brady of past years. I think you need to lean a little bit heavily on the run game. I would do like to see the Ravens pick it up on the offensive side of the ball in terms of tempo. Lamar Jackson definitely, there was doubts that he can't win a big game, but I think that was false. He won a lot of big games last year. It's just that he's falls short. He's 0-2 in the postseason, so I think he needs to just shake that off his resume in order for people to stop speaking that about him. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, man. They're just the team to beat in the NFL. No team is safe. No lead is safe with them. They're the Super Bowl. To me, they're my Super Bowl pick. This is a dynasty. This feels like a dynasty. They feel better than everybody else. The defense has been a little bit shaky for the Chiefs. We'll have to see what's seen, but I just don't see any team matching up with them. And it was just a good solid week for the NFL. A good solid week for the NFL. So just share your thoughts, comment, like, subscribe if you like the video. Tone out. Thank you.